This is Straight Up with Toby Martini. I am Toby Martini, and on this show, we talk about a few different things. What it's like to be an entrepreneur, how do you be in business today? Sometimes the psychology of what's behind it. How do you be successful? How do you make more money? Let's go find out. Hey everybody, Toby Martini. Welcome to the big show. It's Straight Up with Toby Martini. Wow. All kinds of cool sound effects. Thanks for that. Sure. That's awesome. Oh, goodness gracious. People, I want to tell you, if you're listening to this show, you want to start listening next week because it's going to be interesting and different. I am going to expose myself in public again. Now, I'm going to put one of my businesses up, and I'm still kind of juggling because I run two businesses, kind of juggling which one I should show. But a few weeks ago, we had on a consultant. Ken Queen is a serial entrepreneur. He started a bunch of businesses, and now he's a business consultant. He helps people, do better in their business. Mostly, he's been working with lawyers over the last few years, but he could probably help any kind of a business to get better.
Well, if he can help lawyers, he can help anybody.
Yeah, right. Well, you know what's funny is everybody just by the default answer thinks lawyers make millions of dollars. Like, oh, every lawyer is making $400 an hour, and and it's like 70% of lawyers make less than $50,000 a year.
Right.
And they're working tons of hours, just like anybody. It's just that there's a lot of high-profile lawyers who make their money, and that's the thing.
And those are the ones that you see the most on TV.
Yeah. John Morgan's not lacking in dollars.
No.
Yeah. I mentioned it here before. Let me see if you remember this, but like 4 or 5 years ago, I knew the woman who was marketing director for his company.
Right.
Her marketing budget for the year for Morgan & Morgan, $42 million.
Jeez.
Marketing.
That's just to market. Jeez.
Just to get people to know the name, and that's crazy. So yeah, they're doing okay over there. But so what we're going to do on the show is I'm going to put up one of my businesses, and we're going to talk about it as if Ken's consulting me. If he came into my business and said, let's see what you do. What are your products? Who are your people? What do you do well? What do you do badly? And then we're just going to deconstruct my business and say, here's what it looks like. Right? And so for me, that's kind of scary. It's a little bit vulnerable. People usually like to play these things a little closer to the chest. It's part of my training. What I teach people always to do is you listen for that little voice of safety in your head that goes, ooh, I don't know if you should do that. And I go, oh, now I have to do it. Right? Because the only reason not to is because I have a little bit of fear in my head somewhere. But screw it. What's the worst that could happen? Right?
Fear is the path to the dark side.
It is, right. Fear is the mind killer. So we're going to do that. I'm going to put it up on display, and we're going to talk about what I could do better, what I should stop doing, what I should add more of. And then over the coming weeks, we'll see how that works. Hopefully, it will get better, right? That's good for me. It's good for my business. It's good for Ken. It gets, anybody who's listening can see how he works. Maybe you'd like to work with him. You can use that as a promotional thing. But what's most important is if you're listening and you go, well, that's not my business, so it doesn't apply. You're wrong. Any sort of a business has about the same 4 or 5 things they all need to get done. Everybody needs marketing. Everybody needs sales, right? You need people to be aware of you. That's marketing. You need to be able to close a deal because without a sale, you don't have a business. Everybody needs to have some sort of accounting. Chris needs to have a cough drop.
I do.
And so, you need to handle your accounting. I don't know what else. Legal, right? You need insurance. Most businesses need some kind of insurance. So there's all these things you probably could and should do. And like everybody, right? So as we talk about these things with my business, hopefully you could listen and map that to your business. And you go, oh man, I don't do that either. And when he gives me homework, maybe you could do the homework too. And it's kind of interesting. I hope that will be cool. It's a little like one of those shows like a Restaurant Rescue or I think Hotel Impossible. They have these various shows where there's a business, it's doing whatever it does, and then this person comes in and says, do this better, stop doing that, add this. And those businesses do better. So since those exist, I think that this sounds like a similar thing, should be interesting and helpful. Hopefully it's helpful for folks. And I don't know that I'll be taking calls in those weeks. Not that those would be the weeks that people actually do call, right?
Right.
So when I don't really need them to, but so that's what we're gonna be up to. We'll start that next week. Hopefully you'll see this in your social media streams, right, on the Facebook and the Twitter, and we'll get the studio to promote it because I think it's a different kind of a thing.
Yeah,
and it's like I said, it's a little scary for me. I think people like to watch, like to learn the internal struggles and the internal workings of other people's stuff, right? We're all very voyeuristic,
Right.
So I think it's going to be kind of fun. And like I had already put out some social media message about that. Like, you want to see me squirm? Yeah. Because I come out here and I'm like, oh, this, that, and the other thing, try this. I'm good at some things. That's what I talk about here. Mindset and marketing and messaging. That's my strong points. So I can come out here and be all confident about it. You should try this, do that. It works. But then, hey, what's your, I don't know, P&L look like? Hold on a minute. Let me think what P&L means. Profit and loss. Got it. Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, for me, accounting is catch as catch can. I keep track, but you know what I mean? So
as long as you're black, you're happy.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. If there's problems, like if you have to figure out, and I know this is so wrong, like if I be worried about something in my business, the answer is just make more money.
Right.
Like, but it's not always the answer, right? Have better systems. Maybe making more money isn't better because you got a big leak in the boat somewhere.
Right.
So that's what we're going to be doing. It's a little scary. I hope it's valuable. It'll be fun either way. And right now we talked about it today. Should we do this as a package? Would be like 4 weeks, 6 weeks. We agreed today. We'll just do it until it doesn't work anymore, right? And do it until that business is so far beyond this small business scope, it's not helpful to people here, or if there's no improvement, or look, this could happen. He could listen to me for 2 weeks. We could try some stuff, and he might turn around and go, "Yeah, I don't think you're doing it right. Maybe you should be in a different business." Maybe, right? But that would be the end of the show, But I don't know. It's
Well, then you can just try one of your other businesses.
Try one of the other businesses, right? Yeah. Well, yeah. So I run a web design marketing company. I've run it for 11 years. For the first 3/4 of it, really, can I say half-assed? There's no FCC. But really half-assed, like as a freelancer. And the problem with being a freelancer is you go get a bunch of work and then you do the work, right? You have to implement. You have to create what you've sold. While you're implementing and building and creating, you're not getting new business. So then when your project is over, you're done with your project, you don't have any money, and you don't have any new clients because you haven't been working on your funnel. And that's just a bad way to do it. So it's a little different now, but I've been a web developer for 22 years. I've run my own business for 11, 5, seriously. But it's not my favorite thing in the world, but maybe that's the business that goes up on the block because I want to be better at being a business owner and not necessarily right in the middle of it. So that's the option. And the other business is a speaker business, which I get is a little different. Not everybody says, people say, I don't want to go be a speaker. Again, doesn't matter if we're talking about a widget you make or a towel you sell or art that you make or you're a psychologist. It doesn't matter because all businesses need the same 4 or 5 things underneath them, right? So speaker business might be fun to do because that's more the direction. I like that more. It's where I'm headed more. But also I've got a network of speakers, people I know. Maybe I can get others to come in. So then the further part of this, and I'm going to spend half my show talking about the future here, because that's my favorite topic is the future. The future. In the future, we might be able to take on other people's businesses. It seemed a little scary at first. I want to know how it works first, but maybe in the future we could, I don't know, I'm spitballing. Maybe we have a contest and then pick somebody who wants to be on the show and we can deconstruct their business for 2 weeks or every other week for 6 months or something like that. And we could, if they'd be willing to be vulnerable and share what works and what doesn't work about their business, Ken and I can consult with that person to help them get a business better. That might be the new angle for the show. Mostly it's been about here's some tips and tricks and ideas for you, but we could show you hands-on how somebody's business works, things you could do for your business. I don't know. Just making up the future here. Making it up as we go because that's the best way to live. So having said that, I hope that's interesting. What date is that? It's the 20th. We'll be starting. If you're going to have any questions and stuff. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is, and I just said to Chris, I don't expect that during that show we'll take calls. I don't get a lot of calls now, but if more people are listening, I think I don't want to take calls during that show, but I'll take questions through Facebook or Twitter, and I'll address questions. I think that'll be valuable to a lot of people. I think that's the way I'm going to run that. Like I'll get questions during the week, and I'll bring the best couple to the show. But I don't want to have, we're only doing half an hour show, so I don't want to spend 15 minutes talking to somebody about something that's tangential maybe. So that's that. I do want to say, let's just dive into this today. This is kind of interesting, and I probably should have told you, should have teased out a little bit about what we're going to talk about. But I want to talk about a piece of mindset. I had sent out a thing on my social media about this show, talking about, is this you, my entrepreneurial friend? Right? Is this you? And there's a thing where sometimes I say everybody should be an entrepreneur. I just wish people wouldn't want to, go be a cog in the machine. Look, it's not for everybody, really, right? Most people, the vast majority of people, do want to be employed by someone else. They do want to have set hours, and they want to have, know what their 5 business requirements are, But entrepreneurs are different. In the big corporate world, being a jack of all trades is a bad thing. Knowing a lot of different stuff isn't helpful, because more and more it seems they want specialists. They want to narrowly niche you down to the one thing you do so well. But as an entrepreneur, it's great for multi-potential people. It's great for jacks of all trade. It's great for people who like a lot of different things, because as an entrepreneur, you have to know a lot of different things. Communications, in networking and sales, accounting and planning. You need scheduling. All these different aspects, these different parts of your brains. There's parts about the creative part of the work that you do. There's also being creative in the, social media and posting and all those things. So there's so many different aspects of your brain that you're going to get forced to use as an entrepreneur. And so I want to talk to entrepreneurs, especially, right? Business owners. And I'm going to share with you a couple of paragraphs, maybe just a little bit about, I get where you're coming from. As a personality type, these apply to you. Now I'm going to say a few things. Now some people go, well, yes, most of them, but not this. I'm just saying generally, entrepreneurs are like this, right? Right. Entrepreneurs generally have a need for people to like them, and maybe admire. Right. Some go so far as to admire. Certainly in any performance arts and speakers, trainers, but overall, most business people, right, running a business, it is. We've talked a dozen times on this show about they're a big contribution to others. But there's this also a bit of sometimes you want the spotlight, and if it's not spotlight like one person on a stage, it's at least to know that people like you and admire you and respect you and your business. I think we all kind of need that a little bit. And also, you have a tendency to be critical of yourself. It is a real drag for most of us, because we are trying to create content, trying to write a book, trying to make a blog post, trying to create a flyer or everything. And you're so critical. That is what prevents them from getting done, right? And, and I'm just pointing some stuff out you may or may not know, but the thing to do is consider that is so for you, and then what are you going to do about that? I don't have all the answers, right? But I'll give you a couple. But one thing, it's better shipped than it is perfect, right? Get it done, put it out. Is it perfect? I don't know. But you need to create deadlines for yourself and get it done. You can be critical. You can say, oh, I sent that out and it wasn't perfect. That's fine. That's better than, I don't think it's perfect. I haven't sent it out. Put it out and be critical later, right? You again, especially, us business owners have a great deal of unused capacity. You have not tapped into your stuff yet. Hi. You haven't tapped into it, but you will, right? You know that you're striving towards it. It's kind of like Neo in the Matrix. They said, you do not know your potential, but you feel a niggling sensation in the back of your head that you're meant to be more and to do more. You really are. And that's why you've chosen to own your own destiny. There is a personality type. There is a thing that likes security and that 9 to 5, but it's not 95% of Americans. It's not. It's just that you've been taught that way. And there's something bigger and better there for you, and you get to be in charge of your own destiny. Yeah. Entrepreneurs are always looking to be better at what you're trying to do. You always are striving. You're learning. That's why there are so many seminars and conferences, and go on the internet and look at all the people selling programs on how to be better on SEO and video and everything. They're there because we need them, but we're also the sort of people who will go get it. You will go find the book, find the person, find the coach, find the program that you need to fix that one aspect of your business or your mindset. I mentioned this before, is something like 56% of all Americans haven't read a book since they graduated school, whether that's high school or college. But I know every entrepreneur has, right? And we get together, we go to our networking things, we go, hey, did you read this book? Did you read that one? Now, everybody might not have read 100 books, but everybody's read, 10 or 12. Think and Grow Rich is great. Obviously, that's a mainstay. It's a cornerstone. It's a little dry. It's a little hard to read sometimes for some folks. But I'll tell you 2 great books to read. Read Robert Cialdini's Influence, Psychology of Persuasion. It's called Influence. Fantastic book. Teaches you the psychology of some of the best weapons of marketing. It's also helpful to know how to not succumb to them. And read Made to Stick. Great book about how do you get your message clear and stick in people's minds later. How do you make people remember your stuff? Yeah.
How to be sticky.
How to be sticky. Yeah, it's important. You want to be as sticky as you can. And speaking of that, the other aspect of that is sticky. A book called Contagious, which is Robert Berger, I think. That book is about how do you create stuff that is interesting enough for people to share, right? So sticky is how do you get it to stick in someone's head. Contagious is how do you get people to share it, right? All right. But so I know that you're the type of people always looking for ways to become better at what you do, whether it's the work that you do or the business of the work that you do, right? And that no matter what your flaws are, right? Yeah, we all have some personality flaws. You have areas that you don't, you're not great at, but you're able to compensate for them by the things that you do well. Kind of like I said, in my business, I'm good at marketing and talking and communications and not so much the accounting. Did we say this on air or was this before air? But part of the thing about making money, the answer is just make more money.
Yeah, we said this on air.
Yeah, it's just make more money, right? Can I fix the holes in my accounting or should I just make more money to not worry about it? Right? And so that's how some of us compensate for it. And I'm not going to scrimp and save every penny. I'm not going to be concerned about as much the outflow. I'll just make more. Not the right answer. I know that. But you compensate for your weaknesses with your strong points. Right? A lot of us, we spend a lot of time and effort to look disciplined and controlled. We do a lot of effort to discipline and control ourselves. But on the inside, I know that you're a little more worried, right? Maybe a little bit insecure. Like, I think I'm doing the right thing. And then that little voice in your head goes, yeah, but you don't really know, And we're all a little wiggly. We're all a little scared. You don't want to admit it to other people. And sometimes it's hard to admit it to yourself that it's fear that stops you, not knowing how, right? And I say that when I talk about my video course. I go, hey, why aren't you doing video? Right? And people go, oh, I don't know. I don't have time. Yeah, you have time. You just don't have the priority because you're afraid to be on video. People are like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Hey, Google it. Right? You want to know how to put videos up on YouTube? Go to YouTube and say, how do I put videos on YouTube? You will know how in 5 minutes. It's not magic, right? But it goes back with the other thing I said earlier. You're the sort of people who likes to figure out how to do stuff. You want to know how to be better at it. So stop falling back on I don't know, because I don't know is off the table. And fess up and realize you're not, I don't have time, I don't have a camera. Everybody's got a camera on their phone. On your iPhone, it's a better camera than, I don't know, probably better than what they shot Star Wars with. It's ridiculous. So, I get, you've got doubts whether or not you make the right decisions all the time, and that's okay, but keep doing things, right? I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do. Do it, right? And again, moral lines, all aside, stay legal, stay moral. But if you're like, I don't know if I should try that. Sounds risky. Nobody in my industry did this before. That's an awesome thing, right? So if you're insecure, if you're afraid or whatever, take the step, right? Nothing beats fear better than action. Get past it. Like I said, about the radio show, I'm changing up. I'm going to expose my business. Here's how it works. That's a little scary. As soon as my brain went, ooh, that's a little scary, people will think, that's just the noise. Clearly have to go do that now, right? So, and maybe using all this discipline and control that you're trying to show off to people, maybe you don't have to do that as much, right? Just let it show. One of the things I like to say is let your freak flag fly, right? If you're like, oh, I'm a little, I have a friend who's a lawyer who, she's kind of groovy, she's kind of hip, she's cool and funky, but
is this the biker lawyer?
Huh?
Is this the biker lawyer?
No, but she's kind of like her, but she's not a biker lawyer. But yeah, you can even look at her. Like what she's done is, so let's use her. Fran Hosh is the biker lawyer. She's upstanding and professional and a good lawyer, but you get, oh, she's a biker. Right? You could go see her wearing leather and stuff like that, driving a Harley. Like that's letting the supposedly weird side of her personality show. That's awesome. That's probably the best reason she's doing pretty well, as opposed to just being another lawyer.
Right.
Saying, we're better than the other lawyers. Right? We like your personality. That's why even John Morgan, that's why he's done commercials in the last year. Now, again, he's not the creative genius behind this. He's got marketing people. But he started talking about his dog. We lost our dog, and they're part of our family. And he started doing these things to let you know about his family, that he's a person. Right? Of course, he doesn't have anything particularly odd, weird, or interesting about him. So, well, not that he shares publicly.
No.
But you ought to see him at the clubs. Whew.
Dancing on the bars.
Yeah, those late night after hours ones. I'm making it up. No slander, no libel, please. I'm just joking.
The views expressed on Straight Up with Toby Martini is not necessarily the views of the Talk Wild Studios.
All opinions belong to Chris Wiles and Chris Wiles alone.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. So here's the thing, right? So go, show those things that are crazy, weird, and funny about you. And another, a smaller example is when you do a presentation, if it's one-on-one or to a small group, look, if you mess up, it's okay. We all fear, I don't want to do that because I don't want to mess up. I did a speech today, 30 people. And in the second line of my speech, I messed up a word. Really bad out loud in the middle of it. And I think it was supposed to be perspective. I don't remember what I was going to say. But instead of perspective, I said perspective. And I went, okay, or not perspective, because that's not a word, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody laughed and had a good old time. And then I just kept going with my speech, and it was fine. That was probably the best part of my whole speech. Because in that moment, people go, oh, look, human messes up and kept going, is fine with it, is fun, right? And that's the win, right? And that's lets your personality show. Be okay with messing up and then claim it and be human about it, and people will like it. It's okay, right? So you don't always have to be disciplined and rigorous, I don't care what your business is either. If you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor. I had a woman in my workshop recently who is a doctor, and she had a thing about it sounds ridiculous almost to say, but she wants her clients to know that she really likes them and loves them. She wants them to feel better. But she can't say that as a doctor because that's weird and it crosses some lines. You can't love the people that you're working for. I'm like, well, yeah, you can. So she wants to have more fun, and if people are mad, let them be mad and work through it, as opposed to now, don't do that. Right? She doesn't want to be that doctor. The extreme example of her that's public and known would be something like Patch Adams. Right? He worked with people who had cancer, and he worked with kids and did all that stuff, but he would come dressed as a clown, and people would say, I've always liked this, and he'd come in a costume, and he'd make jokes and be wacky and weird and wild. All of the other doctors said, don't do that. It's not professional. You don't seem like a good doctor. He's a great doctor. He just has, a flair and a fun and a way to be around it. So that's something that she wants to do. She doesn't want to be a clown. She just wants to be, have more fun with it. And really, like I said, it seems so weird to have a doctor have to qualify. I love people and I want them to feel better, but I'm not allowed to tell them I love them. That's weird. Right? I'll tell you what, I tell people in my workshops, I love you people. Right? That's why I do this. I want you to be better. I don't want you to be afraid of stuff. I want you to go and be strong. So I know it sounds weird and I feel a little vulnerable saying it, but I love you. Thanks for coming, Now
I feel warm and fuzzy.
Oh, I love you too, Chris. Yeah. Only differently.
Yes.
Yeah. We were talking upstairs about what this place is becoming, so it's weird.
Yeah.
All right, so listen. So you got doubts. You don't know if you made the right decisions. It's okay. Commit and go forward, right? Just keep going. I would say, now I know this for sure about entrepreneurs. We got about 5. Mm-hmm. Cool. Now, most entrepreneurs are dissatisfied when hemmed in. People don't like restrictions and limitations. That's why you rebelled. That's why you don't work a 9-to-5 job. You don't like the strictures and the structures, right? We're kind of rebels. We want to be free. You want to choose your own hours. You want to choose who you work with. And you do want to choose how much you get paid. Of course, that's a question for so many people because I don't want to charge too much and not get any and blah, 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 right? But I know that you feel hemmed in and restricted. And then you get in your own business, you're like, I'll choose my own hours, blah, blah. Here's that classic thing. Entrepreneurs will work 90 hours a week so they don't have to work 40 hours a week for someone. And it's true. But 90 hours, and again, that's ridiculous, but even if you're working 65 hours a week, they're your own hours. You choose what to do, which hours they are, right? And that's the freedom that we as entrepreneurs really need and desire. It's hard to go back, right? You pride yourself on being an independent thinker, right? You think differently than most people. Fine, it's cool. Get it though. Get that you do think differently as an entrepreneur. So if you write some marketing stuff and you go, wow, I like this. This talks to me. It's probably not right for your customers because 95% of people aren't you. They're not like you. Unless you're selling to entrepreneurs and you can speak in that same language, right? You have to think, I'm selling whatever that is to somebody who's not living the life you are. They're employed. They have a 9-to-5. They've got, different sort of restrictions and structures, and they view the world differently than you do. So your marketing, everything you write, it's not for you. Pick a person that you would talk to and then talk to them as a single individual person, right? We're not the sort of people who take other people's opinions, right, just without satisfactory proof. Everybody's skeptical of sales claims, right? But it's just even opinions. We're better at hearing something and go, well, yeah, I know a lot of people say that, but is it true? Right? I think that's a strong thing. It's a good piece of being an entrepreneur is, look, just because that's the way it's always done isn't the way it always needs to be done. Just because that's an old saw, that's something that people say, not necessarily the way. We're very opinionated, and we don't take other people's opinions without satisfactory proof. There's a bit about being professional where we have a hard time revealing ourselves. This kind of cuts back to the other thing I said before. Certainly people new to business and new to networking, and especially if they're in these very professional sort of jobs, lawyers and doctors, even insurance people, they're trying to broadcast a particular image of, I'm very professional. Like, I get it, but I'd rather you were a person in that profession, right? Show us personality, be real, be honest, and that's the best. This is interesting. I'm getting a call from somebody who should not be calling me while I'm on the radio show. So you don't take opinions. You're a little embarrassed or something about revealing your true self. And I promise you that revealing your real personality, your likes and your dislikes, will be the answer to getting people into your world. Trust me on that. Now, everybody has all sorts of personality traits. You might think you're an extrovert or an introvert. More people are introverts. It doesn't mean that you're social. It doesn't mean that you're talky. It just means you think differently, and you get, I think better out loud with a lot of people around. Introverts think better in the quiet on their own. But you are both, and you have to express both. You're going to have to be not extroverted. That means something else. If you're an introvert, you don't have to be an extrovert, but you are going to have to go out and network. You are going to have to talk to people. You don't have to be boisterous and handshaking and crazy. Meet a couple of people and connect with them. We've talked about it before. Always happy to talk about it more. Come to my workshops. Look, we have high aspirations for ourselves and for our businesses. We set high goals, and some of them appear unrealistic to others. You have to get that your family loves you the way you are, and when you set these high goals, they're afraid that you're setting yourself up for failure. Sorry, just tell them, I'm going to go and be successful. It's going to be okay, right? Set those high goals and then go after them. That's the thing to do. Even if they're unrealistic to other people, fine. It was unrealistic that we could fly, and now we fly every day. So that's just some things that I've been thinking about that I know all of us as entrepreneurs go through in different spaces. Look, it's all good. go out and try. The strongest things I can tell you is be human and yourself and share your hobbies. Spankers? Sponsors. Yes, I will mention that. Good. All right. So we're going to head out here in a minute. I hope that's interesting and valuable to you. If you see yourself in any of that and what to do about it or how do you use it. Okay. I did want to mention our sponsors. Thank you, Chris. New Urban Suites. Check out newurbansuites.com. Get yourself an office space. Get out of your home office and get an office. Go out and see the peoples. Like I always say, get some pants on and do some real work. New Urban Suites. It's a cool office space. It's down in Ybor City, good central area for Tampa. And then SCORE, which is a business assistance mentoring program. You go to pinellascounty.score.org. And you can talk with somebody who can help you with any aspect of business that you struggle with. Even if you don't have a business yet, why are you trying to pick a business? They can help you with that. So check out pinellascounty.score.org. And then my own real quick before we go, video challenge starts on March 1st. You should be doing videos, right? If you have a business and you have a website, you should have your smiling face on there talking to your people about what you can do for them. Okay? So video challenge, tobymartini.com/30-day video, starting March 1st. And then I'm starting a 4-week workshop on Sundays in St. Pete, starting on March 9th. 4 weeks of be bold in any situation, be able to talk to anybody at any time. And the part I don't usually push enough here is it's ridiculously fun. It's, I guarantee, the best sort of a personal development, sort of a business development communications course you'll ever take in your whole life. I guarantee it. Every time I do it, I like it even more. I'm starting to get egotistical about how good a thing it is. It's so fun. And it's so valuable. It changes the way you see the world. So that's my stuff. Check out tobymartini.com. Workshops is at tobymartini.com/workshop. But check out that site. Hopefully you will join in one of these things just to see what the world's like through my eyes. It's very different. So check that out. I hope this has been valuable to you today. Starting next week, the deconstruction of a business and how does it work? What could work better? And how can you apply that to your business? So we'll do that next week on Straight Up with Toby Martini. That's been it. Thanks. Bye. This has been Straight Up with Toby Martini. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you want to find out more about what I'm up to, you can always find me at tobymartini.com. We'll see you next week. Bye.